Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the Cedar Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about the garden later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up. We'll give you guys our picks for who's going to win on November 8th, so stay tuned for that. Lots in store for you throughout the program. For instance, a discussion about managing diabetes, very important, that and much more. But where we want to start is helping kids in a very special way. And we do that with a guy who knows about helping kids and helping lots of people through his work with his own foundation, Power of Play Foundation. He's also an NFL superstar, Super Bowl champion, my friend Ricky Prohl. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for doing it. Now, remind us what Power of Play is all about. What's the mission?
The mission is just helping, giving back to children. Play, opportunity, work, excellence, and respect. It's an acronym for the word power. And my wife and I have just, when I first got in the league, we were so blessed and had 3 children that we're just so fortunate in getting involved in the community. We realized how many special needs families, children, at-risk kids that needed our help.
Exactly. And before we get to the special program, I want to promote one thing. People, if they just moved into the area, you and your wife, set up a prolific park, which is open to anybody, really, to come in and work out and be healthy. But that's where you have a lot of your activities for at-risk kids, latchkey kids, and whatever, right?
It's a great marriage, yes, absolutely. We have all youth sports. We have a family fitness center and sports complex. And the park, the foundation is run out of the park. It's perfect because we have so many activities that they both coexist with one another. We just built an inclusive playground several years ago that is just been amazing for the community, one of its kind, and we're hoping to build more. But it's just been it's been awesome, and I can't say enough. We were just talking about life's about relationships, and it's about building community, and the more people you know, the more people you can educate on the needs of our community, the more kids and families we can help.
Absolutely. Let's get to that then. You teamed up, your foundation, Power Play, has teamed up with the Children's Home Society and the Department of Social Services for a special initiative. Tell us about Santa's Helpers. What is it?
Well, it's grown. It's been, I don't know how long it's been. I apologize. It's been probably 10, 15 years, but we're up over 300 families that we provide Christmas for. We go to what are their needs opposed to wants. And we do some of their wants as well, which is toys, PlayStation, stuff like that, but it's needs. It's clothing, sweaters, jackets, socks, underwear. And just, like you said, I think we'll provide 150 families from DSS, 150 families towards Children's Home Society, and it always grows. And I can't say enough about KBP, which is Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the money and the volunteers that help. D.H. Griffin, local organization, Don and David, just been so supportive.
And you need all of it. You need folks to make donations of clothing and toys and all that. But I mean, it has to be new stuff.
Absolutely.
Unwrapped.
Well, that's the funny thing. We've partnered with Greensboro College. We supported their basketball team to go on a trip, so we're going to take in return 20 of their kids from the basketball team are going to help shop at Target, local Walmarts to help, and that's incorporating the community and giving back, and that's what's so unique and fun about this Santa's Helpers. We have angel trees at the park. We have members that pick and
make the donation.
Make the donation.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I want to put up on screen Power of Play and Santa's Helpers. Donations are due by, I think, November 20th, if I'm correct on that. You can visit www.prolificpark.com for information on how you can donate, or you can call 665-5233 and
ask for Natasha.
Ask for Natasha, or we'll just give you Ricky's home number and follow him around. And thanks for all you do. You gave a lot of people pleasure as a player in the NFL. You're giving a lot of kids and families pleasure now as a leader in the community. Thanks, Ricky, for doing this.
Well, I appreciate you having me here and be able to extend to our community what we're doing. Thank you,
man. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, and let's talk about managing diabetes. I can't think of anything more important to talk about, especially with the holidays coming up. People feel like they can overeat. That's me. I'm looking at me in the mirror and being careful about how we stay healthy. But managing diabetes, if we should have it, maybe trying to prevent it, all those things we're going to get into with our special guest, Dr. Carl Zakia. He's family medicine physician with Atrium Health, Wake Forest Baptist. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thank you.
Most folks know there are two main types of diabetes, type 1 and type 2. But if you would, please explain very quickly the differences between the two, just to remind us.
Well, essentially, type 1 and type 2 diabetics have a problem with regulating sugar in their blood. How they got to that point is what makes them different. Type 1 diabetics lose the ability to create insulin in their body at a young age, and it happens because the body attacks those cells. It's an autoimmune reaction.
You mean even children can?
Children, teens, even people in their early 20s, it happens at a younger age, basically.
Okay.
With type 2 diabetes, the sugar levels in your blood are so high for so long that the body doesn't respond to insulin well enough, and over time, your cells in the pancreas, they're called beta cells, can lose the ability to produce insulin as well. So
Okay. Now, how will we know if we're starting to have trouble, if we're pre-diabetic, or, I mean, are there signs and symptoms we look for?
Absolutely. So the classical symptoms or the typical symptoms, there's an increased desire to drink more fluids, whether it's water or anything else, and it doesn't quite get satisfied. And so we drink, we go to the bathroom more often, and whether it's during the day or we're waking up at night. And so those are usually the more common symptoms. Fatigue can set in, dehydration can set in, even a little bit of weight loss unintentionally. And those are the typical symptoms that prompt people to go to the doctor.
Is it like some diseases where it's not extremely easy for you to diagnose it, or is it easy for you to diagnose it?
Well, some of those symptoms can overlap with other things, and so you may think something else is going on, but diagnosing it is confirmed through blood tests, and that part is quite easy. There are two types of blood tests. One that looks at sugar levels that day, basically. It's affected by what you've eaten recently in the last 8 to 10 hours. And there's another type of blood test, it's called the hemoglobin A1C, and that looks at an average daily level for the last 3 months. So based on those tests, there's a threshold number that we use to determine whether someone has got diabetes.
That's why it's so important. I mean, when I go to the doctor, we always talk about getting blood tests and doing those kind of tests to keep it sort of monitored and keep up with it. But
Absolutely.
Now, what we're talking about with diabetes, is it chronic or is it curable or what?
Well, technically it is a chronic disease that as of right now we don't have a cure for because we don't have a good way of helping the body produce insulin again. But having said that, for type 2 diabetics, with the right approach to diet and lifestyle, you can reach a point where you won't need any medications. Not every type 2 diabetic, but some. And so some patients like to think of it as if they've cured their diabetes, which is a nice way of looking at it. Ultimately, it's still a chronic disease without a cure at the moment.
So you can actually be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and then come to somebody like you, and what are a couple things you can tell me to do that might abate it?
Well, diet is a huge one because your body isn't responding to insulin or making insulin. You're sensitive to swings in sugar. So you do have to be careful with eating sugary foods and drinks. And also carbohydrate-rich foods, carb-rich foods, things like pastas, breads, rice, and that's in so many different cuisines. So
I want to get you back sometime. We can talk about your personal life, but just very quickly in 10 or 15 seconds, what or who motivated you to go into this career?
It's something I kind of developed over time. I wasn't one of those people who knew from a young age that I wanted to be a doctor, but as I went through university, it just stuck with me and I couldn't shake that feeling. So I took the plunge and went to medical school.
Well, I'm glad you didn't shake the feeling because you're doing a lot of great work and helping people, Doc. I do appreciate it. Up on screen, wakehealth.edu is the general website. You can find out and take you to various portals as you learn more about diabetes. Doc, will you come back sometime?
I'd love to. Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, we have a returning guest, and sometimes you say, well, wait, you mean, was she here last week or last month? No, a long time ago, and I don't know why she waited so long to get back, but our good friend Margaret Collins is with us. She's founding executive director of Center for Creative Economy. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Jim. Good to see you, too.
Just very briefly, for people that might not know, tell us what the mission of the center is and why you created it.
Well, the mission is to really help and support creative entrepreneurs. Our why is to help those that are really building businesses in the creative industries to build the business skills they need to launch and grow a business.
Right, and it's not always easy to try to start up a business, and especially in this day and time, coming out of the pandemic, so that what you're doing is great. Let's hone in on maybe give me an example of a program or programs that you offer to help achieve that mission.
Well, thank you. Yes, many times creatives, they have the artistic or the design or the digital skills, but they really don't know, they don't have any business skills to
Right.
develop. So we have a program, several programs. One is our Kinetic Boot Camp, which is a 6-week program that helps early stage companies that have never started a business before understand customers and a value proposition, and we provide mentorship to help go through that. And then our signature program is the Velocity Creative Business Accelerator, which we're in the middle of right now. We are wrapping up a 10-week accelerator, which is really built around customer discovery, business model, financials, and positioning and marketing so that they can really launch and grow.
Well, I'd like for you to brag on yourself for a second, because I'm going to ask you, what kind of impact do you think these programs have had on the folks that have gone through the programs and on the economy and the community? What kind of impact have you had?
Well, that's a really good question. We, in the 10 years since CCE was founded, we've run these programs for about 6 years of that. And so far, we have helped launch close to 70 businesses.
Wow.
And they have earned in revenue $14 million, and they have gotten investment of up close to $20 million.
That's great success.
They've created almost 300 jobs, and we've done it with about 61% are women, and about 32% are minorities or people of color.
I wanted to save some time on this segment because I know we could talk about this for hours, but I want to save a minute or so to ask you about your trip to Indonesia. That was pretty prestigious. You were asked to speak at a special conference. Give me a little bit of background on that.
Well, yes, the Center for Creative Economy was invited because of our work with creative entrepreneurs to attend and speak at the World Creative Economy Conference in Bali, Indonesia. And we were on a panel to talk about public-private partnership and the importance of building creative industries. These countries that we're attending from all over the world, including England, France, and Hong Kong, Africa, Thailand, Philippines, they all are building creative industries, a lot of focus on film, digital content creation, and they believe in building these industries for their trade and tourism. And they selected CCE. We were one of the few American speakers that were invited to attend, and they brought us there to share our story. So we were recognized for the story we're doing and building creative entrepreneurship, and they want that more across the world.
What an honor. What an honor, and well-deserved, too. Before I lose time here, I want to put up a couple things here. First of all, CCETriad.com, and find out more information about what Margaret was talking about. And a shout out and thanks to Spencer Baird and the good folks at Inmar Intelligence for suggesting this topic and getting Margaret and I together again after all these years. Inmar.com for more information on that.
Can I share with you what's coming up?
We got 5 seconds.
Okay. Our demo day is next Thursday, November 10th. And
Okay.
please join us to hear 12 amazing entrepreneurs pitch.
Well, you're amazing. I just heard you.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today, time to speak with Mr. Theater, and I am honored to do that. Every once in a while he drops by. We're talking about, of course, Dave Briggs, director of High Point Theater. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, Jim.
And I like that governmental patriotic
Well,
tie
thank you,
that you
sir.
have
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah, that's good because it's a voting season.
It is.
Before we talk about some great shows that are coming up, we're going to get to that. But you emailed me one day and said, "Hey, let's mention something about the High Point furniture market because it's an economic development story. It's a community story. It affects everybody." What did you want to say about how it went?
Well, I want to talk. The furniture market brings millions, even billions of dollars into our state each year. And what was really neat with this most recent October 2022 is that their numbers were only about 10 or 12% below what the 2019 fall market was, which was the biggest market we'd ever had.
Right before COVID.
Exactly. And so the theater actually participates with market because we house the International Buyers Lounge and registration, so all the internationals have to come through the theater.
Right.
And then we also home for the media center. And we serve, I guess, about 500 breakfasts and lunch Monday, or actually Friday through Wednesday of market, which is really neat to see all those people come into the theater.
That's just saying the activity is great. Very quickly, though, one other thing, all that sort of through the tax revenues and everything else, that helps not only the theater, but the whole community, right?
The whole community, actually the whole state, because all the money that is brought into High Point during market really gets dispersed throughout all the businesses and industries. The hoteliers are packed, the restaurants, everything.
Win-win for everybody.
It is.
All right, let's talk about some of the upcoming shows. One of my favorite things I enjoy, because I went to this several years ago, United States Air Force Heritage of America Band, Tuesday, November 8th, 7 p.m.
Yeah, these guys are so much fun, guys and gals. It's not just guys.
Right.
They're so much fun. And this is our first military band post-COVID.
Okay.
So really excited to have them back with us. It's going to be mostly a patriotic evening of music, and you're going to hear your favorite marches. If you are a member of one of the military or a veteran, you're going to get the songs played. You get to stand up. And also, we're going to be honoring hometown heroes in our lobby this time.
That's great.
So
That's
really
great.
excited.
Now, let's talk about Confederate Railroad. Now, before anybody says, well, what the heck is that, Confederate Railroad? That's Friday, November 18th, 7 p.m.
Right. This is Confederate Railroad's been around since the late 1980s. They're a great country rock band, and I think folks will have a wonderful time at that concert.
Black Violin performs Sunday, November 20th at 7:30 p.m. Remind us about Black Violin.
Black Violin, this will be their fourth time with us, and these two gentlemen play violin and viola. They have merged hip-hop and classical and rock and reggae, and it's an amazing concert. They'll have a DJ on stage. It's an experience.
That's great. John Barry Christmas Tours comes to you Saturday, November 26th at 7 p.m.
Yes, and John loves kicking off his holiday tour at the High Point Theater. This is his 26th annual, and so the first half of the concert is John's hits. You love hits. Your Love Amazes Me, and so on and so forth. And then the second half of the concert is a Christmas traditional.
All right, I want to put something up on screen here for more information. highpointtheater.com, highpointtheater.com. You can check out all sorts of information. I love this website because it goes in depth about all the different concerts. But for tickets, the best thing is call 336-887-3001. We have a few seconds left. I just wanted to remind people, I guess it's a good Christmas gift. Season tickets?
Season tickets are great. Single tickets are wonderful.
Either one.
Absolutely.
And still some tickets available for the ones coming up for the Air Force Heritage Band. So do that. You going to stick around with the round table?
Sure.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable with a quick shout out to the good folks here at the Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. It's a great place to visit. Check out the website, check out the garden, lots to see. You can have your events here, so you can do things outside or inside. We're doing things inside right now. Next to me, on the right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster and journalist, and the great director of High Point Theater, Dave Briggs, held over from an earlier segment. He is here. And rounding out the group, of course, as always, Keith Granberry, founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, we're almost on November 8th and voting election day, so let's talk about some of the races that might shift the balance of power in the country. Races here in North Carolina. First of all, 5th District. Davie, Yadkin, Surrey, Stokes, part of Forsyth, represented by 9-term Republican Virginia Fox, going up against her Democrat Kyle Parrish. Who wins this, Ogie?
Fox.
Dave.
Virginia Fox.
Keith.
Fox,
All right.
unfortunately.
Unanimous on that. Let's look at this one. 6th District includes Guilford, part of Forsyth, plus Rockingham and Caswell. Incumbent Democrat Kathy Manning is challenged by Republican Christian Castelli. Who wins this one, Mr. Overman?
I think Manning wins this rather handily.
A big margin. Dave.
I hope Castelli wins this. We need him in office.
You think he can, though?
I think he can.
Keith.
I don't think he has a chance of beating Manning at all.
Castelli, a veteran. What, was a Navy vet or something?
He's a lieutenant colonel, was a
Okay.
member of Special
The
Forces.
4th District covers 4 counties, including Alamance. Now running are Democrat State Senator Valerie Boucher, Republican Courtney Geels, a nurse from Durham. This is a Democrat-heavy district, guys, so who wins this one, Ogie?
Fouché easily. That Gill, she's a nutcase. She's a troglodyte. She's a nurse who refused to get vaxxed because it was a conspiracy.
That's right. She
Come
wouldn't
on.
get a vaccine. All right, Dave, who wins on this one?
Fouché, it's too far right.
Too heavily
left, rather.
Democrat? Keith.
Boucher.
All right. The 8th District covers, and all these have new boundary lines, remember, because of the census and the court case and everything. So it's a little bit different than it used to be. That's why I'm mentioning it. 8th District now covers 7 counties, including Davidson and Rowan. Incumbent Republican Dan Bishop is being challenged this time by Democrat Scott Huffman. He is a Navy vet and a businessman. Who wins this one, Ogie?
You know, Huffman ran against Bud when it was the 13th, I think.
Yeah.
But now redistricting is actually going to help him a lot, and he's got a good chance. That's my upset special.
Dave Briggs.
I think Patrick wins this, or
Huffman.
Bishop wins
Bishop.
this, but I think it's going to be very, very close.
Keith.
Huffman wins. The redistricting is going to favor him a lot.
The 9th District now covers 8 counties, including Randolph, Chatham, and Lee. 5-term Republican Richard Hudson is being challenged by Democrat State Senator Ben Clark. Ogie.
Actually, redistricting helped Hudson in this one, so he'll win.
All right, Dave.
I think Hudson retains.
Keith, what do you
I
think?
think it's going to be an upset. I think Clark is going to win, and the reason being is that a lot of the folks from Beasley camp is going to spill over and take him to victory.
All right, that brings us, speaking of that brings us to the race for the United States Senate, where Democrat former state Supreme Court Justice Sherry Beasley is running against 3-term Congressman Ted Budd, the Republican from Advance. The polls have them running neck and neck. Ted a little ahead of Sherry in some of the polls, but basically neck and neck. I'm not going to ask you just who wins, but also who wins and why. Ogie, tell me.
Well, I don't think either one of them have ran a particularly honorable campaign. I mean, Bud is just vicious with it, and Sherry Beasley is such a wonderful candidate, but her campaign is kind of meh. But I hope she wins.
You hope she wins. What will happen?
What,
You think she will?
I think it's turnout. It's turnout. Yeah, I think she will, but
Dave Briggs.
Ted Budd wins this, and I think it has to do with experience. And I think if folks go back and look at your show last week, they're going to see 2 very different candidates, and Ted Budd's going to pull this one out.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. We did have a good time with both candidates and just asking them. Not everybody got the same exact question, but it was, sort of off the cuff type thing. Keith, what, Beasley or Budd, and why?
Beasley. Beasley has the understanding of the community. As a judge, she's dealt with a lot of issues. So she's the fairness issues. She deals with that. So I think she's going to win, and I think it's going to be a huge turnout for her. And women are going to decide to vote for her, and that's going to decide it, especially with the women right issue. And she's going to win.
What about undecideds and independents, Budd or Beasley?
they'll flip to Beasley.
Budd, because it's about the economy.
Keith.
They're not going to vote for Bud when it comes to women issues and the economy. They're going to stick with Beasley.
Okay. Speaking of elections, Oregon is the first state to put a referendum on the ballot that would make health care a human right. Is health care a human right, guys? And if so, would you like to see North Carolina put it on the ballot next year? Ogie.
Well, that's kind of a tricky question because I appreciate the health care that I'm getting right now and my wife. But it's all the HMOs that are just gouging and Big Pharma gouging horribly.
Right.
And some of the hospital, it's just clean that up and it'll become a human right automatically.
What do you think, Dave?
That might be the most ambiguous law I've seen on a ballot ever.
Health care as a human right.
As a human right. What is it? Is it sitting at home eating potato chips and drinking a beer? That
Yeah.
might be somebody's health care.
Keith, quickly.
I think health care is a human right. I think especially in the United States, with the amount of money we spend on stuff, everyone should have health care.
All right, and finally, guys, according to CNN, an increasing number of American tourists are posing nude for photos in front of European statues and buildings. It's just shameful. Guys, have you ever taken off your clothes in a public place? Ogie Overman.
Yeah, you know the answer to that, Jim. I invented streaking, right?
Yeah. Ogie's been streaking before. Dave, what about you?
I did that as well, but
You were streaking,
not
Dave.
in the daylight.
Not in the daylight. Keith, we've gotten 2. We got 3 guys. 2 of them have been
We're
streaking.
older than he is.
Keith, have you taken your clothes off in public?
Now, I've been asked to several times, but I declined. I've been asked.
Oh,
I
man.
want to see this
All right.
Adonis body, but I said
Oh,
no.
boy.
We're not going to do that.
You did not say Adonis body, did
We're
you?
not doing that.
Okay. All right. Good thing this isn't a congressional hearing because you have to tell the truth there. All right. Well, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Just recently, a woman was out in Washington State. She went to one of these national parks near Seattle, and she had to go to the bathroom, so she went to these old outhouse and went in there. She dropped her cell phone down this big toilet hole. She went to reach for it. She got stuck in there. The firemen had to get her out. When they pulled her out, she and the phone reeked of, just smelled like, well, human waste, or as I like to call it, political advertising. For all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. Go vote. We'll see you next week.